Yes, sir, we're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with my top 10 action figures of 2018. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
Alright, so 2018 was another great year for collecting, for displaying, for toy photography, for articulated comic book art. I already put out my top 10 Marvel Legends of 2018, so if you haven't checked that out, please do. There will be a link in the description below. This list was a little harder for me to put together. I had my helper helping me out a few minutes ago trying to organize the numbers and honorable mentions and this and that. I'm going to do something a little different this year. Usually I only pick figures that I actually own, but I do have to recognize some figures from some companies that were phenomenal that I did not actually purchase, or some things that I plan to purchase that I just didn't get yet, but I've messed around with and I know that they are great figures. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. The Marvel Legends video was like almost close to 30 minutes. We're going to run through these as quickly as possible. So without any further ado, let's get into my number 10. Coming in at number 10 is going to be the NECA SDCC 2018 exclusive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie box set. I'm counting the entire set as one figure. It's coming in at number 10 on my list because I respect it and I recognize that NECA did their damn thing with this set, but I do not own it. I did have an opportunity to mess around with it. I did own it. I did sell it, but you know, I don't collect too many NECA products, but when I do, I pick the best, and I have to recognize that this was absolutely one of the best on the year and one of the best in general from NECA. They really did an excellent job. These figures photographed wonderfully. They looked great. You know, aside from just a few little quality control issues, it was a very solid release from NECA. So number 10 is going to be the SDCC Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. And an honorable mention for number 10 is Storm Collectibles as a whole. More importantly, or more specifically, the Storm Collectibles Shao Kahn figure, which was a massive figure. You got a lot for 90 bucks, and it came with the throne. And, you know, I also want to talk about Storm Collectibles Goro, which was another master figure for 90 bucks. Storm Collectibles has been doing their thing with all of the video game properties. I do not own any Storm Collectible figures, but I've messed around with them and I recognize that they're doing quality work. So I thought I'd give them an honorable mention. All right, moving on to number 9. Number 9 is going to be the 1000 Toys Synthetic Human. This is another figure that I do not own yet, but I've messed around with and I plan to have it on my next pile of loot from Big Bad Toy Store. So I know that this figure was great, and I know that it's a great training wheel if you want to learn how to pose. I always give props to certain companies that put out figures that help you with posing, because I always feel like posing is the foundation for any good displaying. If you can pose, you can play. If you can pose, then you can display. It's no question about it. And like many of the Reveltech figures, this Synthetic Toys figure helps you with your posing ability. So that came in at number 9, and it came in at number 9 over a figure that I actually own that's here, the Iron Giant, which I want to do an honorable mention for somewhere around the 9th slot. So Iron Giant is a figure that kind of took me a little bit out of my comfort zone, I guess, this year. It made me open up and want to do things on a small, large scale and get some HO scale things and really do some world building. And I like that. But the figure in itself was lacking a little bit in the accessories department. For the amount of money that it costs for this figure, it should have been packed in with way more accessories. It may have knocked out the Synthetic Human at number 9 had it come with more accessories, but it is a really, really nice piece. Moving on. Number 8 is going to be the SH Figuarts Infinity War movie Hulk figure. This is another one that I don't own. That's why it's close to the top of the list at number 8. But it is one that is sitting on my pile of loot. Actually, it's on its way to me now. It was on my pile of loot right at the end of 2018, and it should be arriving to me this week. But I already know that it is a great figure, probably the best import Hulk that we received, and it's probably up there as one of the best Hulks from any line, any company ever. And I see a lot of people displaying and doing great work with this figure. And it is the Hulk that we deserved from way back when they put out the Age of Ultron Hulk that was just garbage. It was the wrong color. The face sculpt was too anime-ish. It was just wrong. So it seems like they're on the right track here with the SHF Hulk. And I'm excited to see the next version of Hulk that they're going to put out. But this one was top notch. Great job from SHF. And a quick honorable mention, I wanted to talk about the Gladiator Hulk that you see back here, which was another great release from SHF. It just didn't really sit right with me that they didn't allow or that they didn't include an unmasked feature with this guy. But when this figure dropped, I said to myself, man, all they need to do is kind of follow this same base buck for kind of comic accurate or just a plain Hulk without all of the armor and gear and paint and whatnot on it. And that's pretty much what they did with the SHF Infinity War Hulk. So that's why that Hulk, which I don't even have in hand yet, beat out the Gladiator Hulk. But this was a good piece. It was something that you probably shouldn't have spent money on if you weren't like a completist and getting every single thing from SHF. But it was one of their best figures on the year, and it deserves a mention. And when you couple it with the Thor from the same movie, they look great together. The scale is perfect. And there was a lot of great display art that came out featuring those two in 2018. All right, moving forward. Number 7 is going to be the Mezco Toys 112 Collective Popeye figure. This figure surprised the hell out of me. This was one that I actually kind of disparaged at first on the A.C.B.A. podcast and said, you know, I wouldn't pick it up, and I didn't even understand why Mezco would do that. Unbeknownst to me, they had done some Popeye figures in the past, so it was kind of in line with what they've been doing. But once I saw the figure popping up in different photographs from different people in the community, I said, wow, this is actually a gorgeous figure. It is actually a really good looking figure. And I was able to kind of backtrack and get them from a local seller here in the Bronx. And when I got them in hand, I was absolutely pleased. The tailoring, this is Mezco at their best as far as the tailoring and the accessories and what you got and this little miniature doll, but it was really, really well done. If they delve deeper into Popeye, into those characters, it will only increase the value and the want for that figure, but it was absolutely one of their best on the year. Number 7, Popeye. Honorable mention, though, at number 7, I want to talk about Star Wars Black Series. I don't collect too many Star Wars Black Series figures. I don't give them too much praise. But one thing that they did this year that was great was release the last Bounty Hunters, and they gave us our complete Bounty Hunter squad in 6-inch, and that was great. That was one of the best things I think they did this year. And it's not even like the figures were that tremendous, but the fact that you were able to complete the squad was great. And Zuckuss was really good, as was Dengar, which I think was probably the best out of the crew this year. So honorable mention for Star Wars Black Series and them completing the Bounty Hunter crew. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Carnage figure. And this figure was really, really well done, and it made my list because I think it was Revoltech's best figure, period. From any year, I think this was the best figure that they put out. The possibilities and the playability with this guy is just through the roof. It's off the charts. It is almost overwhelming how much you can do with this figure, and it is tiring to actually put this figure in displays because you want to do so much with all of the attachments and the tendrils and this and that. But again, Revoltech is one of those companies that will help you with your posing. If you're struggling with your posing, pick up a Revoltech figure and just mess around with it while you're sitting down watching television, and it will absolutely help you. And Carnage was great also because you were able to integrate him with other lines, and it still looked good aesthetically, in my opinion. And honorable mention, I want to mention Mafex. I don't have any Mafex figures in my top 10, but I want to talk about the Mafex Gwenpool, which was not really the greatest figure, but the fact that it was their first figure in their sort of comic-based, comic-accurate line definitely piqued my interest. And the fact that they're going to be releasing the McFarlane Spider-Man and Venom in 2019 and delving deeper into comic-based characters really got a lot of collectors excited about the future. So I want to just do an honorable mention for Mafex. I see them really stepping up their game and really doing some cool things. And although no figures made it into my top 10, they're on the right track. My number 5 slot is going to go to the Mezco Toys Old Man Logan. This was another example of Mezco at their best as far as the tailoring and the accessories go. My only gripe probably was that I think they should have done the more fitted comic accurate shirt on him. I wasn't a fan of the white shirt, but the inclusion of the baby Hulk and the long jacket and the fact that I was able to take the parts and accessories from this guy and use it in other displays and do kit bashing and this and that. And Old Man Logan is probably one of the best comic stories of our time. If you haven't read that, you definitely should. And it was a great choice for them to pick Old Man Logan as a character to do. And the fact that you could swap this head out and use the Mayshelf head and use some different things as far as Wolverine goes, or use this head on a Marvel Legends body. There's a lot of playability with this guy, man, and it was really well done. And I got to give props to Mezco for a really well done Old Man Logan. Honorable mention at number 5, I'm going to give it to the Mezco Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange couldn't really beat out Old Man Logan for me. I feel like I'll do more with Wolverine than I will with Doctor Strange, but it was a phenomenal figure. It was a great figure. One of my gripes with Doctor Strange, though, was the pants. They didn't seem to stay on his butt for whatever reason, and I think the head was just a little oversized, but it was beautifully done. They did a really good job on the costume for Doctor Strange, and he absolutely deserves an honorable mention. My number 4 slot is going to go to the guy smack dab in the middle. It is the Hot Toys Spider-Man Homecoming movie homemade suit Spider-Man, and this one was near and dear to my heart because it was a gift from my man Ed. He gave me this for my birthday in March, and not only was it a gift, and I'm happy for that, but it was a dope figure, and it definitely opened me up a bit more for more Hot Toys. Before this guy, the only other Hot Toys figure I had was Deadpool, but it made me actually venture out a bit more this year, and I've got Black Panther on the way, and I've got Killmonger on the way, and you know, I just really like the way this guy came out. It was a wonderfully done figure here from Hot Toys. I mean, when does Hot Toys really disappoint? They rarely disappoint. And shout out to my man Ed, and I think that's what this community is all about, is the camaraderies and the relationships, and so this figure will always have a space near and dear in my heart. But yeah, number 4 is going to be homemade suit Spider-Man from Hot Toys. Coming in at number 3 is going to be the SH Figure Arts Iron Man movie Mark IV Iron Man figure. And this figure made it close to the number 1 slot because it was so much playability with this guy. I had a lot of fun displaying with this guy in 2018. All of the accessories and everything included were dope. The unmasked Tony Stark head without the shades, and the one you see here with the shades obviously was really cool. It was an upgrade from the Tony Stark head that we got on the Tony Stark figure, and the fact that you could swap this head or those heads onto the Tony Stark figure was great. The fact that you could swap the head onto other suited bodies, and speaking of suited bodies, the SHF Downtown duo is like an honorable mention here at slot number 4 because those are the bodies that I used to make my little kit bash Tony Stark this year. But the armor here looked phenomenal. It was a really good solid release from SHF. It also got us closer to completing our Mark 1 through 7 Hall of Armor. We actually still waiting for an announcement on Mark 1 and when that's going to drop. I actually have Mark 7 on my pile of loot that should be coming, and I'm excited to complete that little haul of armor and make a permanent display with those. But this guy came out really, really nice, and it was a great job from SHF. Another honorable mention is going to be the SHF Mark 50 Iron Man from the Infinity War movie, which also was really, really nicely done. I think that might actually be one of my favorite SHF armors of all time. I said that when I reviewed the figure, but he didn't beat out Mark 4 in my top 10 because I was I was put off a little bit by the fact that they wanted to release the armor parts or the upgraded armor parts for Mark 50 separately from the figure. You know, I kind of hate when companies do that. I understand it, but I just don't like when they do that. So I gave the slot to Mark 4, but Mark 50 is absolutely one of SHF's best Iron Man armors, no question about it. Not quite sure what happened to my original audio and video for this, but I'm doing a quick little punch in, so it's all good. My number 2 slot is going to go to my number 1 Marvel Legend figure on the year, which was the Marvel Legends Walgreens exclusive thing. This was the best damn thing we received in figure form. The fun factor was there, the playability, the paint, the sculpt, everything about this guy was top notch. It was at a great price point. It was my number 1 Marvel Legend on the year, so it had to make my overall top 10 list, and he's in there pretty close to the top at number 2. Quick honorable mention, I want to talk about the SH Figure Arts A Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku. Goku is the premier character from Dragon Ball, so we need that great base form for Goku, and this was a great figure on their new buck. And you know, if anything that you want to do, Super Saiyan God, anything outward from his base form, you got to start with the base form. So I think this figure was really well done. The fact that they gave you the power pole and the extra hands at SDCC was a nice little touch. Obviously that added to the playability and the fun factor with this guy, and he was at a great price point. So honorable mention, Goku, number 2 thing. And my number 1 figure from any line in 2018 is going to be the Mezco Toys 112 Collective Deluxe Joker. I think this was Mezco at their very, very best. So many great accessories, all of the different head sculpts, the hands, the crowbar, the gun, the fact that you could swap on parts from other characters or use guns and stuff from other characters was great. The tailoring on Joker was top notch. This is what Mezco does. They make action figures that have cloth clothing, that have soft goods, and this was them doing their best tailoring work to date, in my opinion. Everything that he had was great. The playability with this guy was off the charts. You know, I did a lot of displaying with him this year. I saw him pop up in a lot of displays this year. The suit jacket, the long purple trench coat. My only gripe probably would be that you couldn't remove the hat. You know, this hat was attached to this particular head. If there was an option to remove the hat and put the hat on some of the other heads, that would have really been cool. But it beat out Mezco Iron Man for the number 1 slot. You see Iron Man here, and Iron Man was still one of my favorite figures on the year. It would fall somewhere in number 2 or number 1 had it been within Mezco's aesthetic, basically. This is kind of outside of the box for Mezco, being that there was no cloth, there was no soft goods on this guy, but it was still phenomenal. But I had to pick Joker over Iron Man because Joker is more in line with the line, in my opinion. But Iron Man is still one that you should absolutely pick up. It was really hard for me to choose between these two, but I gave the top slot to Joker, and that's crazy. A DC figure was my favorite figure on the year. And there you have it, my top 10 of 2018. Let me know what your top 10 of 2018 was. Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for hanging out. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.